and I'm here to talk nerdy to you. I'm going to be talking about what I've been playing, what I've been reading, and what I've been watching. Same stuff as usual, but like I announced last week, I'm going to be talking about South Park, The Stick of Truth, which I played on the Xbox 360, Attack on Titan Manga, Volume 17, and Star Wars Rebels Season 2. So I'm going to roll right into South Park, The Stick of Truth. It's a deep RPG game that has real-time elements. When you block, there's a button to block. And you get less damage if you block. It doesn't completely block, and if you do a perfect block, then you can attack after. Or when you attack, then it's timing based. So it's turn-based RPG, but it's also real-time at the same time. I didn't like it at first just because it was like, oh man, this is going to take forever to play this. But you get used to it, and then the gameplay is more faster paced. You do end up, like, once you start leveling up a lot and you just do have, like, really good moves, you start just spamming the heck out of the same move. So it does get a little monotonous just because you keep on using the same moves. And you want to use different moves just because you're like, well, it won't be monotonous if I pick another move, but it's not the best move, so you don't. It is a great game, it really is. And it's deeper of an RPG than just the gameplay, the fighting. In fact, like, you have your weapons, you have outfits, or you have your combat weapon, and then you have long distance or whatever, I guess. That's what you have as your weapon. So you can buy upgraded weapons and stuff with money that you find, like, by, most of it's through battles, but there's, like, there's other ways that you can get it. It's really great because like I said, you can upgrade your weapons, you can add pluses to them, which I didn't really figure out until halfway through the game because I didn't realize how deep of an RPG it actually was and was going to be, and it is. It's pretty crazy. I was like, wow, this is pretty deep. So it's a phenomenal game. If you like South Park, you will love it because it is everything that South Park is jammed into a 16 to 20 hour experience. Approximately. I played most of it in like about 10 hours, I think, but there was like spurts where I played here and there. So I think if you beat it 100% and get every achievement, you'll probably have somewhere around 20 hours worth of gameplay. I do want to replay it. I want to replay it, it has everything that is South Park. I mean, it's filthy, it's funny, it's witty, it's gross. It's raunchy, like, there is everything that South Park is, that's what this is. So, if you're not a South Park fan, you're not going to like it, don't play it. If you're a hardcore South Park fan, you'll love it, and it should be a strong buy for you. Now, I'm not the most hardcore of South Park fan. I watched it when I was, like, in middle school-ish, and I liked it for the stupid stuff, and then as I got older, I watched it again in my 20s. And I liked it for the more smart and witty stuff, but then the dumb stuff really turned me off. And maybe I'll go back to watching it now that I've played the game, now that I'm about reaching into my 30s. So, yeah, like I said, it's a great game. It really is. But it's a great game with issues. Most of them aren't huge issues, most of them are minor. There are some big issues, though, where they're almost rage quit worthy, and where it's just really hard to figure out. You try this way, and you're even doing the thing that you're supposed to, and it's just not working because you're not doing it the exact right way. So it's really, really frustrating. I still want to play it. I want to continue playing it. Because it's through GameFly, though, I'm probably going to send it back and then just end up buying it at another time. When I got a hankering for South Park. Like I said, maybe after I start watching it, I'll be like, hey, I gotta play it. For me, I'm going to give it a strong rent / weak buy. Now I'm moving on to Attack on Titan Volume 17. I actually have not read all of the manga. I think I read the first one and then I skipped like 8 or 9 because it was the one after the show. Because I was like, I've seen the show, I don't need to read all these volumes. But it was great reading that Volume 1 because you get a lot of the information that you miss, because in the show they skim over it really quick. Like, it's in the commercial type stuff and they go over it like really, really fast, which I didn't really like that much. But because it's in text form, you can take your time reading it, finding out about the maneuvering equipment, finding out about the different districts, just the rules, the laws, a lot of the history, and it's really, really great. And something I've said throughout the entire series is that somehow with each volume they've been able to step it up and step it up and step it up and step it up. And of course that makes sense with art, but that's really hard to do with story. And I won't deny that they did depart from the main story and they went off on like this political coup type thing, but now they're getting back to that, especially with this volume, because it ends pretty much with that political coup. It has been completed, and they're facing off against this crazy, like even bigger than the Colossal Titan. And it's crazy because Eren, spoiler alert, he, from the get-go, and this is at the beginning of the book, gets the armored form. And it's crazy because in the book, they don't show him practicing the armored form, they just talk about it. And you're like, I want to see that, come on, I want to know what Eren looks like as an armored Titan. Like, he looked badass before, and now I want to see how hardcore he looks like as an armored Titan. But they just talk about it. But then they go into other things that you think they would just skim over, and they go in depth into it, and you're like, oh, that was kind of nice that they went in depth on it. So it was crazy. Like I said, that Ultra Colossal, I forget what they call him, but Ultra Colossal Titan, they have this plan to fight him, and at first the plan doesn't work, which canon's never really worked that well against Titans in the show anyways, but it's interesting how it plays out, and you're like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap, and then, Erwin has this plan, as he always does, and it's freaking great and genius. But there's somewhat of a kink because Historia, the new ruler, she's like, I want to be involved because these are my people, and I signed up for the Survey Corps, and that's what I'm here for. And he's kind of like, well, we don't want you to die because that would be really bad. We just went through all this, but I'm not going to argue with you. This can play into the plan. And so it works, and it solidifies her as the ruler amongst the people, and it works out so great. It's just phenomenally well done. I love it. It ties up all these loose ends, and you think like, okay, hey, it's coming to an end, and then they bring all this stuff, all the Titan stuff, back to the forefront, back to the surface, in an even bigger and greater way right at the end, in a great classic cliffhanger form, as they've done not only with the shows but with the manga. So they do that in the manga as well, and you're like, oh my god, this is so crazy. It's crazy. It's just craziness, and you're like, what's going on? And then it ends, and you're like, oh my god. Which I know I'm a little bit behind because Volume 18 actually just came out, and I will watch it before Sabaku-Con. It's a strong buy, without a doubt. You definitely have to read it. Actually, I have not seen the movies, so if someone could tell me how the movies are, please tell me so I can buy them or not buy them or rent them or whatever, if you have a grade. Now moving on to Star Wars Rebels Season 2. First I'm going to go into why Star Wars Rebels, because I haven't talked about this, is so great, which is essentially the cast, or the crew, I guess is better to say, which is we have a female Mandalorian named Sabine. And of course, she's badass because she's a Mandalorian. And of course, that makes her hot because she's a badass Mandalorian chick. And it's cool how she starts off as a loner, a lone wolf, a one-man wolf pack, one-lady wolf pack. Anyways, she's that way, especially in the first season. And then you definitely see her growing in the second season, and she becomes more of a team player. So that's really cool. Then we also have a female Twi'lek, or Twi'lek if you prefer. And her name is Hera. And she is just a natural leader, but she just starts off as just a pilot with just her crew, and that's it. And she becomes a leader in the second season, and it's so great to see her grow into her, somewhat full potential, because she becomes like the best pilot of the fleet too, and they say that. It's really cool. It's really great. And of course, there's Kanan Jarrus, and he is an ex-Jedi who's kind of now a Jedi Knight, but he was a smuggler. He kind of still is a smuggler. And of course, he's a rebel trying to help out the rebellion. He's now a Jedi Knight because of the character Ezra Bridger, which is, he's pretty much just like, kind of like an Aladdin type character. He's a street rat, and he's just, doing what he can to get along because his family disappeared due to the Empire, of course, so he dislikes the Empire. And so because Kanan used to be a Jedi, he knows that Ezra is strong in the Force, so he starts teaching him how to use the Force. So he takes on the role of Master, even though he's not qualified to be Master, which is something to pay attention to because we've seen that before where people who were not ready to be masters trained an apprentice and it ended up bad because of that. And they weren't necessarily bad people, but they weren't ready for that role. And so I think that kind of plays into this, and you see it here and there, and I think it's definitely going to play into Season 3 because that's a big part of it is Ezra's growth in this, which you see him become stronger in the Force. You see his connection to animals, and I like that because it shows that, that Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon had, which is, be mindful of the living Force and their Force connection with animals and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see it, and it saves their asses multiple times throughout this season, so it's really cool. Of course, you can't forget Zeb, the, crazy big alien dude, which is really funny and really cool and really hardcore. And then the droid, the astromech droid, is really funny and quirky too. But it seems like obviously a darker version of any of the droids that we've seen. But not evil, but just a little more dark. I think the biggest thing about, the biggest thing about this season, what makes it so great and so much better than Clone Wars, is that first of all, this show did not take, 3 seasons to get good. By the end of the first season, it was good. In fact, I would say the first season is worth checking out. And this season, by the end of this season, it is crazy. Like I said, what's cool, too, about this season is that they connect the Clone Wars with this show, with Rex. He joins the crew, as well as some of the other soldiers, but, bad things happen. They have Ahsoka, but she said she's renounced being a Jedi, even though she still has the 2 lightsabers. They're white or gray, people have been referencing her as a gray Jedi. And then we have another character, which I won't spoil, which you'll probably figure out anyways, is... It's just crazy, but it's cool because they don't put any seeds throughout the season. It's just in the finale. And then, of course, the other thing is, which isn't a huge spoiler because he showed up before and he shows up throughout the show, is Darth Vader. But it's cool when he makes appearances, because he does make appearances throughout the show. But he's even better when you see him fight, because you see the way he fights, his robotic movements and everything like that, and just how much rage he has and how much anger and hate is in his attacks and everything like that. It just blows my mind, and it's just so cool. And just that voice too. That's something too that I have to say is most of the voicing is better in this show than in the Clone Wars. Except for Leia. I don't know, Leia was a little off in this, which she's obviously not in Clone Wars, but I will say that she's a little off in this show. But not horribly. The biggest thing, though, that made this so great was the repercussions of it, which is Ezra, here it comes, spoiler alerts, uses the dark side of the Force. I'm not going to go too deep into it. You watch it for yourself, and it's so well done. And his master loses his sight. Now, I don't know if that's permanent. I don't know, it's up to you to figure out in what shape or form that is, and even the way that that's handled, so well done. And then you also see a face-off between apprentice and master, which is crazy, and it was something that I felt really needed to happen. And in fact, like I said, that spoiler character as well as Ahsoka, I'm not exactly sure if they're going to make it out of this season. To me, it appears that they're not, but you have to make up for yourself. And I say that because it doesn't show them dying. These are Jedi, so you have to assume, hey, if I didn't see them fall to their death, if I didn't see a dead body, they could still be alive. So that's why I say, but I assume that they are not going to be in the next season. It seemed like it was something that had to happen, though, to further Vader's darkness. So, and that was epic, as well as what happens at the ending. So we'll see in the next season. It's going to be crazy, as well as the other characters that show up from previous seasons that you thought, hey, this person's gone, and they make surprise appearances, and it's a really awesome way. Just the whole season was handled really well, but especially the finale just blew my mind. I give it a must watch. Like I said, Check it out. It's probably the middle ground, which that's the first season. This one's a must-see, so it's up there. You have to see it. If you're a Star Wars fan, why are you not watching this? You're crazy. So like I said, must-see. Alright, and that's it for this week. So tell me what you thought, as well as these other things. And remember, like, subscribe, and comment. If you're already a subscriber, just like and comment, and I will hook you up with a digital comic. And what I have available this week is all new, all different Avengers Standoff tie-in number 8. All new Inhumans number 6. A-Force number 4. Star Wars C-3PO number 1 special. So just do those things and I'll hook you up with a digital comic code. Free digital comic code. Easy peasy. So thank you for watching. Please, talk nerdy with me about these things and what you're into.